Right, we are now live. Good evening. If you are coming in, give me a hello. If you are live, if you're on replay, drop a replay below. I'm just going to tag a few people in and let everyone know that we are in the house. If you're coming in, let me know your biggest take home from today so far. Good evening, Karen. How are we doing? Awesome work with the sessions, by the way, today, everyone. Getting it done straight in, which is what we like to see. Give me a hello if you are coming in. Hey, Jane, did you get the workout in today? How are we feeling? How do you find it? I'm just going to send, invite a few people in. Hey, Sue, Sandra. Also worked with day one, by the way. Questions have been amazing questions. I'm excited for this one, which is going to be good. So hopefully you've got your sparkling water in a wine glass, as I do tonight, breaking it out. It's either, by the way, my tip in the evening is either sparkling water in a wine glass, which does change the angle a little bit, or we go for the cocoa powder so mix cocoa powder, a little bit of milk at the bottom, cinnamon, sometimes a bit of orange oil or vanilla oil, whatever you got. Make that into a paste, add some hot water, and you are good to go. So, we are ready to rock. Evening, Pat. Evening, Shelley. Workout was good. Jane, perfect. Sue, Eleanor, Carol, Kim, Sarah, Jill, Suzanne, Andrea, Claire. How are we doing? Good evening. So, like I said, great questions tonight. So, we're going to delve straight into the questions. This is how it's going to work. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Maggie. Melanie, it is good evening, Julie. How are we doing? Evening, Vicky. And you will meet Julie, by the way, on Wednesday for the sessions. Melanie, it is Monday today. Just confirming it wasn't your watch. It is Monday today. Didn't do workout, had a session with Tasha. We'll do tomorrow. Perfect, Pat. You got a session in. Love it. So we're going to go through the questions. This is how it's going to work because there are a lot of questions, which is great, by the way. Really good questions. And I think you're going to get a lot of value from this as well in terms of the questions. So will I. So let me get the questions up now, and then we are ready to rock. So, and then if you've got any questions, by the way, then put them below. But if you ask them now, they'll probably be lost as I answer these questions. So got it. So we're gonna work through the questions now. So Pat, can't wait to get my head straight about this, but it's not happening at the moment. It will though. I've done it before and I'll do it again. I know I can. Absolutely. And that's a great mindset to have straight off because you know you've done it before. The evidence is that you can do it again. That monkey on your shoulder will say you can't do it. You've come so far away now. It's so hard to get back to it. And these are true. This is true. But actually, sometimes we need to think differently here and actually go, you know what, I get to do this. Rather than I should do, I should really do. I get to do it. I get to be healthy. I get to get fitter. I get to get stronger. All of these, the way we look at this, for some reason, like I said yesterday, when we look at diet and exercise, the connotations that come out, like everyone mentioned yesterday about restriction, about being boring, like being in jail, all these negative connotations around the words diet and exercise, yet probably the best form of self-care you could ever do is improve your diet and exercise for mental health, for our psychology, for our risk of disease, for our mood, for our energy, for our sleep. The best form of self-care you can do for our loved ones, for our relationship with others. That's it, Donna. That's the key one. Every day is day one. Remember that. Debbie, any supplements, vitamins that you think are beneficial for us ladies? Good question. Now, the key thing with supplements is you've always got to consider why you are looking to take them. Hey, Debbie, you've got to consider why you're going to take them. Is it because you're cutting out of food? And this is quite a big question. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to link a few things in the comments because I could go on all day on this. Because if let's say you restrict a food, let's say you say, today I'm going to be vegan. There's a few, it's not about whether vegan's right or wrong, but actually what nutrients am I now missing? So by being vegan, what nutrients am I now missing? That's the question that we would want to kind of ask, right? So what nutrients am I missing? B12, iron, zinc, choline, omega-3. These are the ones where you're going to need to go, I may need to look for different food groups to make sure I'm getting enough of this in. Hey, Emma. So in terms of deficiencies and things like that based on restriction, this is something to consider. But if I was to blanketly go with it, and Debbie, if you want to add context to that, you can do, like if it is anything to do with restricting foods or just generally women's health. So if we just go with it blanket, by default, everyone should be taking vitamin D. That's public health guidelines between October and April and beyond. If you don't really get much sunlight, or when you do, you wear sun cream, because vitamin D is linked with recovery, injury risk, mental health, so seasonal affective disorder, our immune system. Like you looked at the time when COVID first came and it was all the thing about vitamin D, we need to be taking it. Like we've known for years that vitamin D helps with upper respiratory tract infections, which COVID is very similar to. Sarah, I'm on vitamin D for my MS. Yep, so 500 milligrams a day. That'll be 5,000 IU a day. So yeah, anything up to 4,000 IU a day for, unless you've got a specific health condition, you can take, no questions asked. And I would recommend that, definitely in terms of, and that's what the NHS recommends as well. And if I'm honest, it's actually rare that the NHS would recommend a supplement for many reasons. Like there's obviously a cost involved, and then you've got other debates that go involved in that. Should that be then on prescription, etc.? And the fact they recommend it, you can make your own conclusion on there, but that's like quite substantial if you ask me. Like they wouldn't recommend, like they don't even recommend like omega-3, despite the real benefit of having omega-3 in your diet. Speaking of which, omega-3, are you having 2 to 3 oily fish portions a week? If not, I recommend taking an oily fish supplement. If you're vegan, that could be an algae supplement as well. If you, so iron, someone asked about iron as well. Iron, if you're of menstruating age and you have a menstrual cycle, I would take an iron supplement. If not, then I probably wouldn't. Magnesium, Christina. So magnesium is an interesting one. It's behind vitamin D. It's the most, I was about to say most popular deficiency, like it's a trend. It's the most common deficiency. Which is interesting. And it's associated with risk of diabetes, heart disease, migraines especially. So magnesium citrate is something that I would recommend if you are perhaps, especially if you have migraines. If not, I'd probably say there's a lot of other things you can change first. The thing I like about supplements is quick wins. Quick wins, right? You can take a vitamin D and actually generally see quite a positive influence. You can take magnesium, especially because essentially can have quite a quick effect and see quite a difference. I wouldn't just recommend magnesium to everyone. I'd say if you suffer from headaches, migraines, it can definitely be something. Definitely vitamin D for everyone though. Whey protein powder would be a supplement that I'd recommend for most. But if you don't have much protein or protein powder in general, I would 100% recommend that. Hey Lou, to increase your protein intake in a way that's quick and easy. And the best thing about that in terms of the protein powder, it's cheap, convenient, easy. You have to think less about that. And I spoke to someone earlier and they were talking about how they do Cambridge diet, then they go back to eating, then they put the weight back on, and worse, maybe symptoms of gut issues as well. And I was like, there's no reason why you can't do both at the same time and build that in, because the great thing about protein shakes in general, we're not talking about like weight loss shakes, but a protein shake, is that we know that when people are given protein at breakfast or increase their protein intake, people subconsciously eat less. So if you subconsciously eat less, you're halfway there to the battle of helping with hunger. Protein helps with hunger, helps with recovery. We know as we get older, we need more protein in our diet. When you look at studies, when they look at people say under 20, they have 16 grams of protein, and this stimulates muscle protein synthesis, which is that response in terms of the muscle recovery, the tone, repair. Whereas people who are 60 plus will need about 60 grams, 50 grams or more of high quality protein to get the same response. So we know that there's a lot of factors going on there in terms of we need high quality and more as we age to get the same effect. And when you consider that a lot of people say, oh, now I'm at this age, I'm just not losing as much. Our preferences can actually change as we age for a variety of reasons. Maybe we're on certain medications which impact our stomach and our digestion. Could be a variety of reasons. Could be teeth issues. It could be time issues, cooking issues. Maybe we don't cook for younger ones anymore, and our food choices, our preferences change. Maybe we can't be bothered to make certain dishes like we used to, maybe for kids. And there's lots of variables. I could go on for that. But as this happens, maybe our protein intake goes down a little bit. We go for more convenience foods, especially in today's world where food is cheap, convenient, and easy. You look at fast food and processed food, how it's come on massively, like more than ever is it conveniently packed as well. So they would be some go-tos straight away on there that would kind of be the rocks, if you like. You could go into this in a bit more detail, but I don't want to just focus on supplements as there's so much more. Turmeric, I see a lot on Facebook. Take turmeric. Yeah, turmeric, I've noticed difference after it. Turmeric, yes, that's definitely a good thing in terms of arthritis, inflammation. The research on turmeric is very similar to like ibuprofen as an anti-inflammatory, but you shouldn't have any gut issues with it. So yeah, and turmeric's very easy to get. You can get, taking it with black pepper will increase the absorption. And on that note, when talking about iron, if you taking iron, you're a vegetarian, and trying to get that in, having vitamin C with it will increase the absorption, as will avoiding tea and coffee around having that. Just for one way there. So turmeric, yep, absolutely worth taking. A cheap, easy. Black pepper will increase the absorption of it. At the very least, you can start adding it to your dishes if you want, or you can supplement with it. Capsules, and they often have black pepper in already. Cool. So I hope that helps. Emma, so would love some ideas on how to tackle mindsets. I think this is the biggest challenge to eating better. Yeah, absolutely. I would say most people here know what to do already, right? Most people know what to do already, but the mindset perhaps isn't quite there. And what I want to say when it comes to this is actually consider that, hey, Hayley, our brain is massively interesting. Like, we love to be right rather than perhaps progress. We would do anything to be right. Like, I always mess up. I never stick to anything for longer than a week. See, I never stick to anything for longer than a week. We love to be right. Like, the studies in this are fascinating. When they give people milkshakes, the milkshake study, and they put wrappers on it like indulgent, smooth, creamy. Then they give them these shakes. They're say 300 calories, and they say, how's your hunger? People say, I'm full, I'm satisfied, I really enjoyed it. Hey, Rebecca. And then they do the same thing, same milkshake, 300 calories, but they put skinny, light diet on it, and people feel hungry. People feel dissatisfied. It's a bit like what we talked about yesterday. When I say the words diet and exercise, people go, they feel like restricted. They feel like they're missing out. And it's a mindset thing rather than a natural thing, because actually it's the biggest form of self-care you could ever give yourself. And like this mind over milkshakes study shown that it is up here. And likewise, when they did a study and they asked people to do a cycling endurance test, and they tell half the people that they've got the genes to be great at cycling and half the people that they don't have the genes to be great at cycling. And even if they lie to people and say, let's say you did actually have the gene, but they told you that you don't have the genes to be good at cycling, their score goes down on their next cycling test because they probably just don't think they've got what it takes. They don't try as hard. Like if I told you now that you had the best genes in the world to get strong and lose weight, I actually think most people would try harder. I think like if you told me now that I've got the best genes in the world to do single arm pull-ups, I would do single arm pull-up. I would do one right now probably. I don't want to miss out on seeing where this can take me. And it's a bit like, I'll never forget when I was doing diabetes education, I'd be there and someone would ask like, so there'd be like a diabetes specialist nurse there, and they would always give like a very formal answer, which is important, but sometimes not always helpful. But say someone puts their hand up and says, so will this ever go away? Diabetes, and they would go, well, no, it's a progressive disease, so you always have it. And they initially went like, well, what's the point then? Like, what am I doing here then? Might as well just get on with my life. And that there was almost like the end for them. And it was quite interesting. When you look at the research, you can put it in remission. There's so much more to it. And it's like, blimey, why are we not saying this stuff? You can put it in remission. When it's in remission, you've got normal blood sugar levels, and the research is beginning to come out more and more that if you carry on doing that, then there's no reason why that can't carry on. But obviously, if we've done what we've always done, we'll probably get what we've always got. Anyway, in terms of the mindset, when we think about things like, I should really do this. If you think I should do this, I should exercise, whereas you get to get your steps in. Not everyone can do that. No worries, Liz. Hey, Jill. Instead of saying I can't eat that, replace with I'm just choosing not to eat that right now because it doesn't align with who I want to be and where I want to be. And I think that's a really powerful one. Nothing you can't eat. Nothing is off limits. As we go through tomorrow in the nutrition, simple nutrition plan, nothing is off limits. It's permission to eat anything you want, just not everything. And once you get that, that's where you get into that sweet spot. And it's actually knowing that we're adults and we can make the choice that we want to make. That's a big breakthrough. Remembering that, because it's almost like a nice rebellious thing about diet or making changes. It's like, I'm not going to stick to this. When actually, you don't have to. You can stick to 100%, you can stick to 90%, 80%. It's always a sliding scale. And when you accept that, it becomes more like, it's less exciting to be all or nothing, because you can choose to have it right now or not to have it. But what's the cost? What's the benefits? Financially, but also physically, mentally, health. Sometimes we'll say things like, it's so unfair, I can't eat this, but that's why we say unconditional permission to eat anything you want. And I would say, to an extent, treat it a bit like money. And we're going to go into calories a little bit. But if you overspend today, something has to give a little bit. Either we just accept that we've overspent a little bit, or we maybe pull it back the next few days. We don't have to completely overcompensate all the time, but over time, we might have to pull it back slowly. You don't have to go, right, I overate 3,000 calories, so I undereat 3,000 tomorrow, but it might be that you slowly lower it down. And I spoke about this the other day, without even counting calories, but just considering that calories count without having to count them. Let's say there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound of body fat. Now, if you're in a 500 calorie deficit every day, that's a pound a week. But let's say I overeat by, I overeat by, say, 1,500 calories one day. We have a pizza and whatever, and I've overeaten by 1,500 calories. If I just go back to normal tomorrow, I'll lose half a pound over that week, because instead of being a deficit of 3,500, I've now overeaten. So I'm now in about a deficit of about half of that, which would equal half a pound over time. But the problem is when we have that pizza, what do we think? We go into this all or nothing mindset. And sometimes it's worth considering that the all or nothing mindset is almost like, it's a bit like an easy get out of jail card. Like, you can almost use it whenever you want. Imagine if a toddler or a teenager had the all or nothing thing. We'd be like, oh, they've used the all or nothing again to get out. Why have you not put your shoes away, your bags away? Why have you not done the homework? Well, I'm all or nothing. But what would you say to them if they said that? Is it, rather than all or nothing, can we change this to, did I try my best? Did I try my best today? Because then we go from all nothing to, okay, I can't get all in, I can't do the workout, I can't plan my meals like I said I would, but I could get a little bit of a walk in. I could choose a protein choice at this shop today, the newsagents, whatever. I don't have to go, I couldn't get a workout, I couldn't plan my meals, so I might as well have McDonald's, whatever. Did I try my best? Did I still do some exercise? Hey Claire, can I stop at 4 biscuits instead of 5? Still progress. And sometimes you just got to ask the question, what did I learn from it? I overate today and I loved it. Fine, just move on. I overate today and I felt rubbish. Okay, what would you do differently next time? Would you do anything differently next time? These are the questions and the conversations that we want you to have up there. Is that helpful, Emma? That was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it? But I think that will help some of the other questions. That's why I went into it a bit more. So I hope that was helpful. Fran, I will adjust what I buy when eating out or grabbing Greggs when the item has a calorie count, not on a special occasion. But how accurate are the measures? I take them as approximates. So they will be quite accurate. Hey Charlotte, the calories on foods in supermarkets, in restaurants, etc. They'll be quite accurate, but calorie counting, they can legally be, I think it's about 10 to 15% out, maybe even 20% out. So there is a bit of error when it comes to calorie counting, but that doesn't mean that calorie counting doesn't work, because you're always going to be 10 to 20% out. So I wouldn't say that means, oh, what's the point? But yeah, I would just follow what it says. Yeah. Jane, how many calories should I eat a day? Should I avoid carbs? So, in terms of how many calories you should eat a day, if you were going to count calories, I will put a calculator below in the comments for you to look at and do if you want to. This will give you a rough guide, but that's it. A rough guide. And with that, I want you to just consider that with the rough guide, that it's no more than that, no less of that. It's an average. And the thing with that is it's a starting point, but it doesn't mean it's your calories. And it depends if you're looking to lose weight, gain weight, etc. So if let's say it gives you like 1,400 calories or 1,500 calories, you could start at that and just see how it goes. And sometimes it might be more. You might go, oh, I'm eating way less than that and not losing weight. But one thing I would say is, remember, the calories it gives you is every day, not just when you're on it. Because the thing is we might go, oh, no, I don't lose weight, even when I eat like 1,000 calories, but we're only eating 1,000 calories 4 days a week. Then 3 days a week, we're just not on it, we're not counting. In those days, we could be eating 2,000-3,000 calories, then our overall average over the week is actually a lot more than the 1,000 calories that we said wouldn't lose us weight. So maybe we're better off actually shooting higher, 1,500, 1,600, but that's every day. So that'll be something to look at on there for sure. So I hope that is helpful. Let's have a look. Okay. So is that helpful on there? Hopefully it is. On the calorie counting. Should I avoid carbs? There's no evidence to say that you should probably avoid them in general at all. For weight loss, whether you do low carb or low fat, there's no difference providing calories are the same. However, when people generally people actually eat quite a lot of carbohydrates. Like the diet is just generally quite high in carbohydrates. So what I would say there is maybe it might be worth looking at how many carbohydrates you eat and looking what you can add in instead. So, or maybe starting with just adding in. So you might go, okay, can I add in protein? What happens to my carbohydrates? Can I add in vegetables? What happens to my carbohydrates? Now, this is a slightly different question. And the reason I say that is because protein, fiber is going to keep you fuller for longer. But this might be a different question if you say, I suffer from IBS. Should I cut my carbs? Probably yes. Carbohydrates are more fermentable. In general, if you lower your fermentable foods, you're going to see reductions in symptoms of IBS. And this just is generally used on a day-to-day basis. You might have heard of FODMAPs as well. But in general, FODMAPs can be quite, it's almost like people find it easier just to go, I just follow a lower carb diet, because it can be quite confusing to go, oh, that one's all right, that one, and then slowly build it back in, rather than go, oh, I have that bit, have a bit of that, bit of that, bit of that. So, should I cut carbohydrates? Not necessarily. That's kind of down to personal preference. As long as you're within your calories, that's absolutely fine. Cool. Kim, I was wondering that too. Perfect. Sue, is sparkling water better than tap water? Personal preference, really. For me, it's always sparkling water. When I've got some in. Fills me up, tastes good, feels like I'm having something that's actually nice. I don't mind the taste of water, but I'm not a massive fan, if I'm honest, which might surprise you. So where possible, if I've got sparkling water, I'll always drink sparkling water. If I haven't, I will just drink water. Hot Ribena is good as well. But I do love sparkling water. And I only first had sparkling water when I was like, check this. I think the first time I had sparkling water, I was probably about 27. Was the first time I had sparkling water. I was like, what? I think I had it once as a kid and was like, this is the most pointless thing in the world. Why do I want bubbles in water? Now I'm like, yeah, sparkling water. Slice of lemon in there. And if you think about it, you can, if you buy it or use it at home, you can get like pennies for a 2 litre bottle. And if it means you don't have something else like alcohol or fizzy drinks or whatever, or snacking as well, because it does keep you quite full, it is quite filling, then that might be a good thing as well. Shelley, how many times a day should I eat? Little and often? ? So it really depends. If it's weight loss you're after, whichever way will help you eat fewer calories is the way for you. So for some people, they'll be like, I need to eat breakfast because if I eat breakfast, my hunger levels are better, I don't snack as much. Great, you probably eat less over the day by eating breakfast. But other people, if they eat breakfast, they're just eating for the sake of it. They're saying it boosts my metabolism. It probably doesn't suit them. And that's where fasting might come in for a lot of people and help them, unless they have a background of maybe anorexia or bulimia or binge eating. Maybe that's not good if there's still something there. But there's no benefit of or drawback of having, like, breakfast isn't necessarily the most important meal of the day. It really depends on you. Like, if you don't have breakfast, do you still just eat the same later in the day? Like for me, I just mainly stick to protein during the day, protein vegetables or protein bit of fruit in the day. But And then in the evening, I eat with family, kids, and I'm just flexible. I eat what I want in the evening pretty much. And I'll eat carbohydrates a bit more in the evening, and I'm full up, satisfied, done. That suits my lifestyle because it means I don't have to cook many times. I just eat what the kids are eating, job done. And I know I'm getting my protein in because in the day I keep protein very high. So even if it's a moderate protein evening meal, I'm still hitting roughly around where I need to be. So it does depend on lifestyle as well. But the thing about breakfast, what I like about it, is it's the one meal where, the Tesco Express food can't come in on there. No one really nips to the corner shop or the Tesco Express or the newsagents for breakfast. You're normally in control. You're normally up, it's in your house. It's rarely you go to the chocolate tin, the chocolate lingering Christmas leftovers for breakfast. So what I like about that is if you've got a busy day, you're out and about, at the very least you can get some water in, you can get some good protein in, you get some whole grains in, whether it's porridge or something like that, which is going to set you up for the day. That's what I like about it. Whereas you might leave your day to chance if you're like, I just leave the house, see how I go. Gets to mid-morning, I'm starving, I haven't eaten anything, I've got a meeting in 2 minutes, quickly nip to Greg's, get a sausage roll, still starving, an hour later, crisps, there's biscuits in the office. Your day just rolls through you. Then by the end of it, you've probably had 2,000-3,000 calories and you're still hungry. So it does depend. But sometimes it's back to actually planning your meals. 3 meals and done. And we'll go through that later in the week, but sometimes simplifying it down. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, done. If you need a snack, plan in 300 calories of snacks, 2 pieces of fruit, or a latte, yogurt and fruit. Plan something in so it's in there, like a kid's lunchbox. Job done. Hope that helps. Janice, I'd really appreciate help on changing mindset. As I always feel better, I just don't do it. Cool, Janice, I hope it helped what I went through earlier. I think that will help a lot. And just keep your attention on feeling better. Like, the more you do it, the more you'll feel better. So you're essentially choosing not to feel better, which is crazy, right? Claire, with slow metabolism, I find that to lose weight, I have to cut my calories to a level that's hard to sustain. Are there any tips you can give? Number 1, increase your protein intake. Number 2, increase your fiber. Number 3, water. Keep that high. Number 4 is, what I would say, Claire, is how long are you giving it before you say, I've lost weight or not? And I say that because we won't always lose weight in a week. So if we say that we've stuck to something for a week, we haven't lost weight, I need to go in harder, I would give it at least 2 weeks of being 100% consistent. So that's not, I kind of did it, kind of didn't. 100% consistent, 2 weeks. And that's where I said about maybe actually going with a higher calorie target, being super consistent with it for 2-3 weeks, then seeing what your body weight does. If it's down a pound over 2-3 weeks, do it again. If you find it easy and you can sustain it, guess what? That's the secret. Something for long enough. Over a week, if you've lost a pound every year, if you lost a pound every 3 weeks, you do the maths on that. It's a pretty decent year. Quick maths, go. So, yeah, I hope that helps on that. So there'd be the main tips on there. Get some resistance exercise in as well, because it's going to help change your body shape. Don't make it all about weight. Take some measurements, your waist, your hips as well. It's going to be key. Sandra, do you have to count calories? I find it tedious. If you want a good nutrition advice, are you allowed any treats or do you have to go cold turkey? That's a great question. And tomorrow, we'll solve all of that for you in the world's most simple nutrition plan. And that's not to say you shouldn't count calories, but if you find it tedious, I would definitely start with tomorrow's nutrition plan. Penny, do chia seeds or chia seeds, as some people call them, have a high fat content? Relatively high, they are, but they're also high in fiber. They also gloop food, so if you have it in your porridge, you might find it goes quite gloopy. It's quite filling. It's got a little bit of protein in, so I wouldn't avoid them. It's just being wary, and for not just for the fat content and the calorie content, but also for your gut. If you have too many chia seeds, you'll know about it. Put it that way. I'm I'm struggling with protein content at breakfast time, especially as I don't always fancy anything egg-based. Any ideas on how to up my protein intake at this time of day would be great. Me too, can't face eggs in the morning. So, so things like yogurt are great, porridge, and then you could maybe even stir in some yogurt at the end. So once you've cooked the porridge, stir in some yogurt at the end to increase the protein intake, or some protein powder at the end. You could stir that in, that's going to increase the protein. Even as simple as adding things like chia seeds is going to increase it a little bit. Kathleen, so yeah, protein shakes, absolutely fine. One study, or many studies, have shown that increasing protein intake at breakfast, whether that's through eggs or protein shake, subconsciously reduces food intake across the day, plus helps control blood sugar levels. So lots of benefits in on there. There'd be my quick go-tos that aren't egg-based, but don't, if you fancy something like smoked salmon, especially like cream cheese bagel, you get like low-fat cream cheese bagel, they're fine. So yeah, you can go them as well. That's absolutely fine. What would you want to have as well? Don't be afraid to have like a meal if you want, like baked beans on toast. Fine, you're gonna get some protein in there. Depends what kind of you are fancying there. Yogurt, fruit. What is it? Depends on your own taste buds, right? As well. Overnight oats. Where you can add protein powder to it as well, which is a good one. Sandra, I should be on low fat. What suggestion can you give me for a meal, please? Sandra, tomorrow will definitely help with the meal maker. That will 100% help with that. So I hope that will help, because there's many. What do you feel you need to give up with the low fat, Sandra? That would be the question. Because even if you're on a low fat diet, you can still, if you think beans, pulses, legumes, lean meats, eggs, nuts, seeds, vegetables, there's not really much that you'd have to give up on a low fat diet, apart from probably fatty, like creams, maybe. And that's the thing, when people say low carb and low fat, they're actually, when it comes to processed food, they're more similar than you think. Like low carb, people are, I have to cut out pastries and cakes. Really, that's also fat, right? It's fat and carbs mixed together. Angela, we'll try the protein powder mixed in with my yogurt. Perfect. Fruit and muesli. Might even go back to porridge again. Cool. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, just know that you don't have to stick to that every day. If there's a few days you have lower protein because you don't fancy it, don't beat yourself up. Can you increase your protein at lunchtime? So you might go, you know what, I'm having a bit lower protein at breakfast. But lunchtime, when I have my lentil soup, I'm going to put some chicken in there as well to boost that protein in. Still the same protein over the day, but you've had something that you want to have. That's absolutely fine. Protein sparkling water, that's the next craze, isn't it? No, I'm joking. Is it okay, protein hot cross buns, they've got to be out soon. Is it okay to have half an avocado, slice of sourdough, slice of smoked salmon? Yeah, that sounds good. As your breakfast 5 days a week, or is it high in calories? That's absolutely fine. It's probably about 350 calories. Plus a bagel. Sourdough. Oh no, fine, yeah. Why do I think bagel? It's probably about 350, 400 calories. The key question, does it keep you full? Nikki, is what I would say on there. Does it keep you full? If yes, go for that 5 days a week. My question is, why not 7? What do you have on the other 2 days? What are you hiding from us, Nikki? Nikki's got a breakfast that she's not revealing. Tomorrow, you need to reveal the breakfast. Perfect. Cool. You can have it 7 days, by the way. So, that is all the questions I've had. I hope that was helpful. And again, if you're on replay, let me know. If you want to catch that on replay, do let me know. And we are all good to go. Thanks for joining us tonight. Great questions. Remember, tomorrow we go with the nutrition plan. Vegan, vegetarian, Omnivores, we've got you. Everyone is covered. Never use protein powder yet? Give it a try. You can get vegan protein whey. It's like I always describe it like the good thing. The good thing about processed food, like processed food does have its benefits. Great, Liz, Sandra. Like there's also a very lots of good foods that have come out of it. Not just processed foods. If I have that at 10:30, full till dinner time, perfectly. Great stuff, Caroline, Suzanne, Haley, Jill, Karen. Awesome. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy your sparkling water in a wine glass. And I will see you soon. Take care.